Avoid outdated buyer strategies. If you're buying a home in 2026, there are a few things you absolutely need to stop doing right now. I'm serious. Some of the most common advice buyers are still following worked 5 or 10 years ago. But today, it's costing people opportunities, it's causing unnecessary stress, and in some cases, it's making buyers pay more than they should. The market has changed, the rules have shifted, and if you're still playing by the old playbook, you're going to feel frustrated very quickly. Here's what I'm seeing: buyers are overwhelmed with advice from friends, social media, old blog posts, and even family members who bought in a completely different market. The problem: that advice was based on very different conditions, different interest rates, different inventory levels, different competition patterns. And when buyers apply outdated strategies to today's market, they keep missing out and wondering why. So, in this video, I'm going to break down the buying advice that no longer works in 2026 and what you should be doing instead. Let's get into it. Waiting for the perfect market? This might be the biggest one. A lot of buyers are still waiting for the perfect time, waiting for rates to drop significantly, waiting for prices to crash, waiting for some magical window where everything feels safe and predictable. Here's the reality in 2026: timing the market perfectly is still nearly impossible. Yes, the market has shifted from the extreme conditions of a few years ago, but waiting for dramatic drops often causes buyers to miss solid opportunities that are right in front of them. What buyers should be doing instead: focus on personal timing, not perfect timing. Ask yourself, is my income stable? Am I planning to stay in the home long enough to ride out the normal market cycles? Does the payment make sense for my lifestyle? The right time to buy is usually about your readiness, not headlines. Relying too heavily on automated valuations, another outdated strategy. Treating online home value estimates like they are precise. Automated valuations can give a rough idea, but they don't account for condition, they don't account for upgrades, the layouts, the street appeal, and local buyer demand, not even micro neighborhood trends. In 2026, pricing is hyper local and nuanced. Two homes on the same street can perform very differently. What buyers should be doing instead: work with real current market data, look at recent comparable sales, understand days on market, pay attention to inventory trends. A strong buying decision is based on context, not just an algorithm. Thinking you can just outweight the competition? This one comes from earlier markets where buyers could take their time. In today's environment, buyer activity tends to move in waves. When the right home hits the market, especially one that's well priced and move in ready, serious buyers move quickly. Hesitation can cost you. Waiting for a few days to see what happens can mean losing the home entirely. What buyers should be doing instead: be prepared before you shop. Seriously, know your budget, understand your must haves versus nice to haves. Be ready to act when the right home appears. Preparation wins in 2026, not passive waiting. Skipping pre approval until you find the one. This is still happening. Buyers fall in love with a home, then start talking to lenders. In today's market, that delay can cost you the property. Sellers are looking for certainty. Fully pre approved buyer signals seriousness and capability. A buyer who says, I'll get pre approved tomorrow, doesn't carry the same weight. What buyers should be doing instead: get fully pre approved before you tour homes seriously. Not just pre qualified, fully pre approved. This strengthens your offer, speeds up negotiation, and positions you as a confident buyer instead of a hopeful buyer. Lowballing because it used to work. There was a time when throwing out aggressive low offers worked more often. In 2026, that strategy frequently backfires. Lowballing can offend sellers, shut down communication, reduce your negotiation power, cause sellers to prioritize other buyers. Even in balanced or slightly softer markets, sellers are still informed. They know what similar homes are selling for. What buyers should be doing instead: make smart strategic offers. That doesn't mean overpaying, it means understanding value, looking at recent comparable sales, evaluating how long the home has been on the market, structuring terms that make your offer attractive beyond just price. Negotiation in 2026 is more strategic than aggressive. Believing every home will be cheaper later. Another outdated mindset is assuming that prices will inevitably drop across the board. The reality is more complex. Long term supply challenges continue to influence pricing in many areas. Construction hasn't caught up in a lot of markets. Population shifts are still reshaping demand patterns. Will some homes adjust? Yes. Will certain segments soften? Possibly. But broad assumptions that everything will be cheaper next year often keep buyers stuck on the sidelines while affordability shifts in other ways. What buyers should be doing instead? Think long term. If you're buying a home you plan to hold for several years, smart if you're buying a home you plan to hold for several years, small short term fluctuations matter less than payment stability, lifestyle improvement, building equity over time. Real estate has always rewarded long term strategy over short term speculations. My closing thoughts. Here's the bottom line: the buyers who succeed in 2026 aren't the ones following outdated advice. They're informed, they're prepared, they understand how the market has evolved, and they adapt. If you're thinking about buying this year, the goal isn't to chase yesterday's strategies. It's to move intelligently in today's market. That's how you avoid overpaying. That's how you avoid missing opportunities. And that's how you make confident decisions instead of emotional ones. If you found this helpful, make sure you subscribe or follow. And if you're planning to buy this year and want guidance tailored to your situation, reach out, and right strategy makes all the difference. And in 2026, strategy matters